And we're live.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 126 of the Fans of Power podcast. I'm Tyler Baker, as always, and also, as always, Joe Mondo is here with us, the Masked Avenger himself. We
There you go.
from the massive high from episode 125, and if you hadn't listened to it, get your ass on YouTube and watch that before you watch this one. But our interview with Mark and Rebecca Taylor was and we hope they're catching this as well. It was just unbelievable. Feedback was great. People were so thankful and grateful that we did that interview, and it just the info that they gave to us, especially about the book of new stories that's coming in the near future. Not just Mark's book that's going to contain some of that, but more stories that he's going to be putting out. God, it was just a bombshell of just amazing information, and God, it was just not enough time in the world to do it. To get even more. So
No, I mean definitely T-Rex. That was a roller coaster ride. It was so great just hearing everything they had to say, and then of course we hit them with our questions. And like you said, that was like it was just scratching the surface. There's still so many things we wanted to ask them, but they will be back. We'll have them on again, and we'll cover a lot more questions. But to know, like you said, he is working on some books. Like the first one, he said maybe wouldn't have illustrations, and I think he said the second one possibly could. And I know that the cover for did he say the cover of the first one that Axel would be doing the cover for that Axel Jimenez?
doing the Mark's actual first book, and then I'd assume with the book that contains the actual stories that Axel will definitely probably. I just assuming, but I think it wouldn't be out of line to assume Axel would be contributing to that one as well. If not the cover, illustrations going on in the inside of the book. If Mark wasn't going to do something along and just keep his focus on just the stories, and have Axel do like a 1 page black and white illustration of some kind, like spread throughout the book to kind of help give you an idea of He-Man approaching Grayskull, or discovering what that symbol was on the trap door or something like that.
Everything, yeah. Because he said we'll be finding out the secrets of what was in there and all those stickers and the cardboard cutouts and other things and other characters he has. Just to know that we're going back to where it all started, where the magic began. The person who created it is coming back to give us more of those stories that we remember when that we loved so much when we were kids. But now, new stories. I mean, how fantastic, especially in a time when there is nothing going on. It's like, this is perfect. But hell, even if there was something, even if there was a new cartoon for He-Man or even a movie out, just to know this is happening has got my juices flowing more, because this
Honestly,
is how.
I don't think I could be any more excited. I mean, because just I've given up on the idea that anybody in Hollywood is remotely interested in giving us a good He-Man movie or giving us a new cartoon series that does it justice. What Mark is doing here, we couldn't ask for anything better than to get serious fantasy stories, and it's taking the the mythology in a different direction the way it was intended to be, so that way people who have this is different, like, well, yeah, because the creator intended it to be this way from the beginning, and obviously it got changed throughout the years and things like that. So that's why I felt like we couldn't get anything better from Hollywood.
No, because I mean, what's great about this is not only is it reaching all the Masters of the Universe fans that have been around since the beginning and are so passionate about it, but this could reach even a newer set of fans, because I'm part of a lot of groups that are like Conan groups, Savage Warrior groups, and they will always give mention to some of the Masters of the Universe stories, which are some of the earlier things, whether it's the stories or the depiction of the characters, something that gives them a feel where they think, oh, this is a little more fantasy like, whatever it may be. But to know you could then bring and target them and suck them in, because what Rebecca did was she shared with me a few days ago, and I put it online, and people just loved it. I mean, it was just amazing. She showed an early version that Mark did of Manny Faces, and we know that we've seen a lot of his concepts before of Manny Faces, other characters, but this one had like it almost was alien like it had like this long back of its head, then you turn around and it's another part of the face. But she said the name of this character that Mark called him is Segway. And I guess, not to, no pun intended, but to segue into another kind of idea, could you imagine if Mark was able to talk with some toy company and was able to give us all the concepts, all his ideas, ones that were never turned into toys, to have them into figure form, whether if it was something reminiscent of the old 5.5 inch He-Man style bodies or something else, but something like maybe Mark Taylor's Fantasy Warriors. I mean, could you imagine buying new figures based off of all of his concepts? Those things I think would sell like hotcakes.
Oh God, I I I don't know how to respond to that, and the in a sense that I'm like, yeah, you know, just like with the book that I'll give here's the money. I mean, give me more Mark stuff in toy form, whether it's in vintage scale or hell even with the classics form. I mean, I wouldn't care because I Mark for all I care could be given. All right, Mark, we're going to task you with designing 5 new heroes and 5 new villains. We don't care where you put them. We don't care what they look like. Just give us 10 total new characters, 5 heroes, 5 villains. Nothing's wrong putting on paper yet. I will give him my pre-order money. I mean it's a lock. It's like it's a guaranteed, gold mine. It's the best bet you could possibly have. Everybody wins, and I just it's unquestionable. You put him and Rebecca in charge of this. We hope they're listening to this. We're just going to praise the hell out of you two. You two are the sweetest people. People were saying the same thing.
They were.
And we can't thank you enough for your contributions. You're not here with us right now, but hopefully you do listen to this, and we can't thank you guys enough for what you did for us last weekend. Not to mention all your efforts that have brought us here today again. And
Yeah, it's nothing but praise and positivity from the fans and everywhere. All the response was fantastic because it was, like you said,
they hear this. I want to know more about that canceled Conan the Barbarian line and more about working on Clash of the Titans there, Mark.
yeah, that would be great.
I'm not done asking questions about those two toy lines, so we
Yeah,
get
because I like when you stood up for Clash of the Titans. You're like, hey, no, wait a second, I do like my Clash of the Titans.
yeah, because you just don't hear people talk about that movie that much, and when to say that he worked on that, I'm like, wait, say what?
Yeah.
He's like, I hated it, and I'm like, what? Are you can't say that. And of course, like he had every right to say he hated working on that or hated the line because he worked on it. And I'm like, oh, this is great, man.
No, it was. And I did love the movie. I did love that movie, though. I did love the Clash of the Titans movie. I did enjoy that growing up. I remember it.
But God, yeah, I'd love to see. I mean, that segue. I want that as a classics figure or a vintage figure. Anything. Was it Stalker and what was the other character that was recently named like a month or two ago?
Was that the Mime character or
Yeah,
or something? Yeah, that's what I mean. There were so many, and I know that they said they have so much more.
yeah. I mean, God, I mean, I don't, I really like. How can you as a He-Man fan say you wouldn't want these designs as figures?
And you know what's even greater is not only the figures, but like you said, the stories that we're going to be, seeing eventually, and even the ones that aren't illustrated, the first ones that start off, it's going to be that thing that, like we said, we used to use our imagination. Sometimes when you just read the story, you didn't have pictures, or even the ones that still, like some of the early mini comics that were just one page with a picture, a whole bunch of text, and you had to use your imagination for the rest of the stuff that they're describing. That's what's great. It kind of, draws and sucks you into the story even more, that you have to create these images and what's going on. But even when he gives us something illustrated, again, it's just still going to be more of what could have been, like what could have been back then if Mark would have stayed or, stayed with the line and did more stuff and gave more of his
You know what
characters.
it means with you saying this? This means that when he goes back and does this, or obviously he's working on it. I mean, weren't we told that Zodak was initially designed to be kind of a bounty hunter?
I think, see, and that's the thing is this.
These stories now, and now Zodak is no longer a cosmic enforcer like watching from space. This guy's going around catching people for bounties. He'll become the Boba Fett of the He-Man universe,
which he already kind of is, but then it would like do more to it. Yeah.
God, I want to see that. I want to see just how savage Beastman could be. I want to see, what kind of warlord Merman is, and what if Stratos going to be an evil warrior since he's, was designed the way that he was. Was he, that's so.
Yeah, because you're right. There was a lot of back and forth between who was going to be good, who was going to be bad. A lot of things switched up. Yeah, you're right. That is something that's interesting, and also to see that, like he said, he never seen He-Man as being like humorous or joking or funny or none of that. It's going to be a more serious tone, which when you think about those original mini comics, there weren't many jokes cracked from what I remembered. I can't remember in the first four many jokes. Maybe there was
Sarah design ones, there were no jokes in those either. And I mean, even some of my personal favorites, there aren't jokes. Is like Clash of Arms, I mean, there's a few samples, but yes, the tone did get lost overall as the mini comics progressed. There were some serious ones, but it definitely, there is no like remarks for kids to enjoy in the first four, and definitely the next batch as well. And to be able to see, all the characters being portrayed, his whole idea of Tila using magic, and that's something that's looked down upon because we need to rely on either our pure strength or inner strength or even technology
which
magic.
yeah, that's something which I'm going to get to. I do want to get to that magic part with Tila. First, let me just say hello, because I always do this at the beginning. I want to say hello to everyone in the chat room. We got Zentron, Zen Brown, Adam Gabbert, Captain Chronic, Chris Hummel. Oh, Chris Hummel's joined us. My God, the sky must be falling. But yeah, Chris Hummel's here. Let me just keep scrolling down just to make sure. And Chris Simpson. So thank you everybody for joining us. But no, see, it's like, remember what I always told you. Like when you think about Filmation, which I love Filmation too. Don't get me wrong, I loved all the canons of Masters of the Universe. Each part you could possibly say, oh, it has some good points, some bad points, whatever. But I always said, in the Filmation, we had Orko as the magic user. But Tila was not the magic user because now it's like, the Filmation sorcerers, but she's stuck within Castle Grayskull. And I always said, I was like, man, it sucks. Skeletor, Evil Lyn, they're out anywhere they want and they can use magic. But who can go out and use magic out for the good guys except Orko, because sorcerers are stuck in Grayskull. So now to see that Tila, maybe we could see a little more. Now Tila doing the magic, and she can do this outside of Castle Grayskull. It'd just be fun. It would make for some more interesting battles for when she's using it, when it being questionable. But if she had to use it in fighting with Skeletor or whoever it may be, it gets your mind spinning and wondering.
That, and also you kind of wonder, Mark worked on the line, but for so long, will he use a lot of his concept characters to fill in the ranks of the rest of the heroic warriors?
I'd love that. I would love to see that.
Where, I mean, we don't have a Cyclone and a Mechanic and a Buzz-Off and a Webstorm and Cobra Khan. Do we have all new evil warriors and heroic warriors? Do we have other factions of evil and heroic characters?
That's what I see. That's what I could see and would love to see.
Yeah. So, Mark, Rebecca, you guys listen to this. More factions of villains, man. And we definitely would welcome that. And factions of heroes, whatever you guys got, man. Give us something. Give us something we can whet our appetites with of what you've got in store for us here,
Definitely. So that will be great. So keep an eye out. Like I said, this book, he's going to be doing a book. So when it, goes for pre-order and it's announced, you can be sure we're going to plug that thing everywhere. And I'm sure everybody out there will want to get that. So that's going to be one amazing book, and hopefully it can lead to future books as well. So also, real quick, in the chat room, I don't know how, with on all the stuff, JSP, thank you for joining us. I just missed you right there for a second, so thank you for joining us. But yeah, that was a roller coaster ride. Like I said, last week, it was a blast, and yeah, so we're trying to bring it down now, calm down, get a little relaxed, still get pumped up like we always do when we do character discussions or books or anything else, but that was a lot last week. It was a lot to deal with.
God, man, it was such a high. All I could think about the next day, I'm at work thinking about all these stories. Like, what are we going to get? What will we see He-Man doing? What will we see inside Grayskull that hasn't been explored yet? Especially when he had said that he designed Grayskull to have so much more on the interior and that it had to be cut out, for various reasons. Like, what else was in Grayskull that we, obviously the mat, what got cut. Some changes to the exterior and stuff, like small changes. But what else was in Grayskull that we didn't get that had to get scrapped?
Yeah.
Make me wonder, what else, what other parts of the mythology were taken away
What was
from
taken away that he will be able to bring back to us? That's what's
yes.
going to be very intriguing. I mean, hell, he even had me looking after Rebecca was saying that secretaries would walk by and sculpt the shingle on Castle Grayskull, and there might be fingerprints. I'm sitting there, I'm looking at my Castle Grayskull trying to find fingerprints and everything. So I was just looking, I was like, was that really molded in there? I just might have missed part of it, but that's what was fun. Just a lot of unique things we were hearing. But well, before we get into a discussion, like I said, we're gonna do a character profile. We'll talk about a book that you don't hear many people talk about because, well, a lot of people maybe didn't have that when we were, when they were growing up. But we're gonna talk about a book. But as for recent stuff, I was sitting there trying to think, well, what was recent, what was new? Of course, I mean it's a no-brainer. There's nothing on the movie front, even though it's supposed to shoot in April. So yeah, then
You're shooting this month here, people. So you people who are, oh, it's going to happen. I think this is when we take the time to laugh at you. We all going to, point and cast you out publicly and make fun of you in front of everybody because we try to tell you it ain't happening until it changes hands. And even then, I'd say it's a snowball's chance in hell.
I had a lot of people finger pointing and telling me they were saying, "No, Joe, it really is happening this April this time." I was like, "Yeah, we'll see." And it's like I said, it's not just like it hasn't happened the other 50 times. But in moving past that, I guess at least for the fans wanting to, because everybody's been wondering what's going on with the new She-Ra cartoon on Netflix. Where's some news? Where's some info? The only thing that they gave for that, which they posted recently, was the title, and they call it She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. So it's not Princess of Power, it's princesses. So
Already
I
things already.
yeah, it's like all right. So they're making everybody a princess. I mean, how many are gonna be? It's I have no clue what it's gonna be like, but at least the title has been revealed. So with that happening, you figure they maybe will have to start showing a trailer soon, I guess, to get people wondering, okay, when are we gonna see something? Because a lot of people are waiting for that to happen too.
I'm not.
Yeah, I have a shoot out there for those who might be super interested in me. I'm just sitting back and waiting. Ain't nothing I'm doing backflips over because I don't know what it's going to be like, and I'll just see what it's like when it happens. And for those who are super excited, I hope it's fantastic for them. So we'll see how that goes. But well, like I said, we know no movie's happening. The cartoon, I guess we'll see what's going to happen when it does come out.
I'm completely put it out of my head that there's a new She-Ra cartoon coming. Like I'm not going to. Probably, I hopefully am not going to talk myself into watching the footage because I'm just probably just going to be upset to watch She-Ra putting her hands on her hips and making sassy faces and spitting her and doing stuff like that and
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. Let's hope it ain't.
like really goofy girl power stuff, but not very empowering girl power stuff. Just very cotton candy where the girls are doing braiding each other's hair and taking every moment to make it silly with an occasional sword fight here and there. That's not very, but that's what I'm saying. It's not meant for a guy like me and fans my age or older, or people who enjoy the more serious stuff and would like to see She-Ra presented in a very strong. No, we're gonna make it kind of silly and goofy and
Yeah,
campy.
that's what I mean. That's why I don't know. It's like the animation that I've always talked about, how they showed like at least that one drawing. So I'm wondering, okay, is it going to be a lack of detail? Will it have those like almost like how we just had Grimbot in the chat room? Thank you for joining us. He said he'd worry more about goofy anime faces, which I know exactly what you mean sometimes
Yeah,
in the cartoons where they have that overexpression of a smile or a weird like anger face, and then like little lines like around their face.
emotion come out where
Yeah, I
She-Ra
don't
loses
like. Yeah,
or Catra loses her temper. She starts screaming and yelling at a horror trooper, and his head
that's what
falls.
I don't want. I don't want the animation emotions where you're seeing lines around their face. And the one big question I still don't know, and I'm sure others who are behind the scenes know this. I'm wondering, okay, is she going to be like a young teen, and will she become She-Ra, who's also a teenager? Meaning, like the tagline for like the action figure said, "The most powerful woman in the universe." So is she now going to be the most powerful teen in the universe? You wonder. I don't know her age, what it's like, but again, like you said, they're trying a whole new angle. I guess we'll see how it works. I don't know.
It's gonna. I mean, whereas the original cartoon made all the characters adults dealing with the issues of the horde, this is probably going to be on the brink of puberty and silly jokes. I don't I just kind of feel like it's going to have like a real juvenile tone to it. because you can make children's entertainment, but it doesn't have to be dumbed down for a child to appreciate it. You and I would not be sitting here doing what we did or doing today if that's what Filmation with both He-Man and She-Ra was doing, because they weren't. They even said that was not their goal, was to talk down to children, and I feel like this is just gonna, be just silly and goofy just because they think they're doing something inventive and cute and funny. I'm like, no,
No,
yeah,
which he
you'll have a handful of fans that they don't care what you give them. They're gonna smack anybody that denounces the idea that this new She-Ra cartoon is not gonna be any good.
No, again, like I said, I hope for the best for it and hope it could be good and brings in, like you said, a new generation of fans. But you're right. I mean, the tone of the original Filmation He-Man and She-Ra cartoon, when you look at it, it was something that kids, teenagers, and adults all could look at it and enjoy the show. Comparing, like, let's say, when you were watching that, and let's say you watch Scooby Doo, and I'm not saying, oh, Scooby Doo is just for kids or something, but you know what I mean, with the sound effects and the running and the goofiness or whatever, you could feel like, okay, there's a kiddie cartoon, but then there's a cartoon that feels like, hey, this is kind of adult-like. It doesn't seem too over-the-top nuts with crazy sound effects. The feet turning when people are running and that kind of stuff. That's what I mean. When you watch He-Man and She-Ra back then, it felt like anybody of any age could enjoy it. And hopefully this She-Ra can do that too. But like you said, it's a wait and see. I guess we just have to wait and see whenever. Hell, I don't know how many more months I have to wait. It's probably going to be a summer thing if I was to guess. I would assume summer maybe it would happen.
They may even be waiting until San Diego to do some sort of like trailer for it. But even then, you know, I don't know. I have no, there isn't an ounce of me that thinks that this would be something that I would be interested in. I get it. When they have revealed like what the show is going to be about, like tone and wise and stuff like that. I mean, it's like, I'm out. I mean, I've been locked outside the gates of seeing this. What I just worry about is the continuation of making the He-Man She-Ra property a joke. That if this show presents what I think it's going to be, it's just going to continue to show the general public that these two characters are silly nonsense and not to be taken seriously, that they cannot be held on a strong pedestal as your traditional superhero or superheroine. No, 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 no. This is where all the silly stuff of people who used to run around in loincloths, we got rid of all that, but now we're really getting down to, girls being sassy and saying a bunch of silly remarks and talking like your traditional teen girl, except instead of having cell phones, they'll probably have, something that's somewhat relatable to a teenage girl nowadays because we got to make sure. I don't know. I just feel like,
Well,
I need
like you said,
to stop fussing about it because I'm not going to watch it. It's not meant for me. And I need to stop torturing myself. And for the most part, only when Joe brings this up, and for the most part, when Joe does say something to me in private, I'm just like, and it's just, I just like Joe. I gave up a long time ago. So all right,
well, like you said, yeah, we're done with that.
yeah,
It'll be a wait and see.
people who they want to see a silly She-Ra cartoon that's not going to probably be taken very seriously, and because we don't want to present a beautiful woman in a outfit that can be sexy but badass at the same time. No, 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 that's demeaning towards women and things like that. It's like, yeah, you didn't learn anything from the new 52 of changing everybody's looks. Like everybody wanted to see Wonder Woman with pants on.
Well, there you go. Well, like I said, we'll wait and see. But I want to go to a story, and there's a lot of cool things in this. Like I said, we're not reading it, just in case, we always let everybody know. I never read the whole story. We've done this, since we started doing this podcast, just in case somebody wants to read the whole story themselves. But it's this book called Battle Under Snake Mountain, which this, for me, did a lot of cool, different things when I was a kid that I never seen. Now, I'm going to say this right now. I'm not saying anything I'm going to say never happened when I was growing up in any other story, but I'll just let you know some of the things that happened with this Battle Under the Snake Mountain was firsts for me. So before I babble about some of this, Tyler, I didn't know your experience with the story Battle Under Snake Mountain.
I didn't come across this book until I was in elementary school, and I went to the public library, which is down the street from me here. And I was walking back from the kids section, and I took a double check, and there was some kid much younger than me looking at that book at one of the tables, and it was all I could do from like stopping and grabbing his book and swapping it out with like a book about puberty as if the kid never noticed it, and I take off with his book and he's sitting there learning about the developments of a young female and a young male body, along with like the nicknames for male and female
You wanted to
genitalia.
jump the poor kid? You wanted to steal his He-Man book and give him your garbage book, huh?
Yeah, that's what I would have loved to have done, but that was the only time, and it was one of those things where, like many times in my life, I'd come across some kid who's got something He-Man related that I'd never seen before or hadn't seen in person, and I'm like, son of a bitch, that punk, he's got Night Stalker, or that kid, he's got what is that? I've never seen a Snake Man storybook before.
Right.
So that was my first time, and I would not see it again until images showed up on the internet. I've never come across it at a flea market. I haven't seen it. Of course, I have looked for it on eBay, but I've never come across it by accident when I would look up storybooks to buy on eBay and stuff like that. So it's the artwork is, but having viewed it on the internet and things like that, you can view it on He-Man.org. The artwork is beautiful on the inside. It's a slightly different take on the Snake Man, but very kick-ass though. It does him justice.
And you're right. I love the art of it. I think it was, believe it or not, a father-daughter duo that did the art. I think it was Judith and Pablo Marcos. I think it was a father-daughter. At first, I used to think it was a married couple, but if I'm not mistaken, I found out that it was a father-daughter. But I also even own some of their the sketch art and the work. I mean, the art that was used for this book. I actually have some of those pieces, and they're big. They're big, and I have like them big and boarded, and so I have some of the original art from this book. And I'm glad I came across it because this was one of those audio books that I had when I was a kid. And since we never had King Hiss in the Filmation cartoon, you always wondered what was his voice going to be. And of course, you know that the voice acting might not be the most amazing voice acting for these audiobooks, records, or whatever, but it gives you as a kid, your imagination to run wild again. So this was the first time I heard King Hiss's voice. So I found that intriguing. This was also the first time, again, remember when I told you earlier, I said my first experience, not saying it never happened, but also it was the first time where I seen them definitively saying and showing the Snake Mountain toy playset as the Snake Men's home. They didn't mention this as being Skeletor's lair. They said this was the Snake Men's lair. And I remember as kids like, this is so cool. And also you found out that He-Man lived at Castle Grayskull, and it was the first time I seen He-Man have a bed. Now, you know probably just as much as I do, if not even more. Do you ever remember seeing He-Man have a bed in Castle Grayskull and all this other? It's like, what is all this stuff that's going on?
No, and it's an interesting. It almost felt like this was a story that probably could have been written at the very beginning of the toy line, with, having He-Man living in Castle Grayskull as if like this is where He-Man lives, is in, the ultimate source of power in the universe is inside this castle, and that's where He-Man lives. And, to kind of tie it up with, with them sneaking underneath Castle Grayskull through this kind of forgotten river that stretches miles and miles from below Snake Mountain all the way up to Castle Grayskull. It's like the Caverns of Fear kind of thing, but it's there's this beautiful image, or one of it's actually there's several of them, but anyway, there's a shot of Rattler and Tongue Lasher in their boat, and you see this massive shot of them inside this cave with them and holding a torch up, kind of lighting the way in the cave, and it just looks so cool. And then when they're underneath Grayskull too, and you see He-Man's like getting into his bed, and they're underneath there in the water, in their. It just looks cool. It just has this like classic old feel from the very beginnings of the toy line.
Yes, it's exactly, and you're right. And real quick, because there was like some Chris Simpson got no, Chris Simpson got a little confused in the chat room. He was mentioning, I seen He-Man's bed before. He was thinking of when they had Prince Adam showing himself sleeping, but that was in Filmation. But no, I mean, as for He-Man and a He-Man's bed, that's the only time I've ever seen it was in this book. So this was just He-Man. There is no mention of Prince Adam, and he's living in Castle Grayskull. And hell, I'll even show the picture. That's what cracked me up is they showed a bed. And what's even funnier is I think it had that H emblem that we started knowing from his battle armor and stuff.
Yeah.
Tell me if you can see that.
Yeah, it's right on. It's that's the insignia on his bed. Like, let's ever know this is He-Man's. Damn it.
That's what I thought was cool. It's like He-Man's bed, and it's He-Man, and he doesn't have this. He didn't even get a chance to get his power harness on, because that was, you're right, that was the plan. The plan was King Hiss found out from some of his snake warriors that there's this underground river or something that leads, and he's talking to Ratlor and Tongue Lasher and letting them know that it leads somewhere. Want to know where it leads? To underneath Castle Grayskull. So he wants to see exactly, he wants them to scout out and go by taking, like you said, that kind of little boat all the way through this river to find out where it's at. And coincidentally, they'd be right under He-Man's room. They go back, let King Hiss know, then they all travel. And they pop up through like one of the bricks. And another thing that was kind of cool was to hear about this kind of like a venom that King Hiss, poison. Yeah, a poison that he put on He-Man's hand while he was sleeping that paralyzed him. I was like, what's another cool thing? There was so many cool firsts that I seen in this book that I didn't remember anywhere else. And again, I'm not saying in other countries they never did it, but this seemed like it had a lot of firsts, and it was very intriguing. And you can, like you said, you can find this online. I think, like you said, He-Man.org even has it to where you can look at the book. But I think YouTube, they uploaded the audio version of this. So if nobody's ever heard the audio for it, you can listen to it and you can finally hear, a King Hiss voice, if you will. Like we said, not the best in the world, but when you're a kid, I know that you at least listen to other audio stories, Tyler, whether it was a record or something, it sucked you in.
I had some of those, like from the Disney collection. I did have, I ended up getting Revenge of Skeletor from a kid in 5th grade who didn't want it anymore. I traded him something. He gave me the book and the cassette tape, and I went home that day and listened to it, and it was okay. When I was so used to Filmation, still watching the VHS tapes, I mean, nothing could hold a candle to that. But it was all right. And then I had Thundercats and Transformers on cassette tapes as well too. But those were always fun, and I'd have been all about it. God, I wish I had that book when I was a kid. It just
it's good to see the Snake Man, like you said. When you didn't get many? I mean, we know the mini comics had. I mean, yes, they were in other books as well, but just seeing a whole book focused just strictly on King Hiss, Ratlor, Tongue Lasher, and He-Man, and the only other person that made one quick cameo was Man-at-Arms, where He-Man was doing some training with him. But you're right, because He-Man had a gut feeling something was wrong, but he went against his gut feeling, and he regretted that he did that, because then he got blindsided and got captured.
What's for me, what would have been great to have gotten that book is that my only experience of watching Rattler in action was in Snake Attack, and he's mute in that. Whereas in this book, he talks. So I hadn't seen him in She-Ra, and I wouldn't see him in She-Ra until I think 11th grade when I or somewhere around that time. So my time of being able to see Rattler actually in action was so limited. So it would have been a major big deal to me to have seen Rattler in action, just because Snake Attack was the only mini comic I had that had him in it. I'm pretty sure I did have King of the Snake Man, but it just didn't leave an impression on me like Snake Attack did. Whereas Rattler only spoke through his rattle. The rattle on his tail was the only way you knew he was around.
The battle rattle.
Yeah, and which was I kind of like having a mute Snake Man that he only attacks, or he's around when the rattle is shaking, to kind of like sense he's going to attack. But it would have been awesome to have seen that, and the images in that book, I think would have really just blew my mind, because the art looks great. King Hiss very kind of slim, snake-like in it.
Exactly.
Yeah, like right there. I mean, look how slender King Hiss looks. I mean, in his on his throne in the toy version of Snake Mountain.
Oh yeah, that's how I mean. It was. I love not only the looks but the descriptions. Like when they were describing things that were going on, like when Ratlor and Tongue Lasher was before him, they're given a description of like how Ratlor's neck is not extended because he knows dare not extend his neck in King Hiss's presence, and that like his tail would kind of slightly rattle or something because he that's what he does when he gets nervous in front of him. It's just the descriptions they'll give in these books. It kind of like sucks you in because again, you only get one single picture per page or however many they do something. So they're going by basically a really
Yeah.
good
Images
descriptive.
like here too of them down in the cavern.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
I
it
like
really,
it.
I mean, it just holding a torch, lighting the way, and you see like other serpents and things like that around down there. It just adds extra tone in texture and depth, to a simple children's story. But I swear to God, man, people who were working on these stories, man, they had our um what's the word? I just feel like they had our best interest because these the vast majority of He-Man stories were taken relatively seriously for the most part. A few silly moments here and there, but like that one and a lot of the Golden books, man, they the stories were taken seriously. They were not dumbed down and make it sound like it's just mindless fun for kids.
And I also like to wonder the liberties that. Oh, really quick, also Christopher Dahlberg, we gave you a shout out of a happy birthday earlier, and again, happy birthday, belated birthday, man. Good to see you here. But yeah, no. The other thing about this is I always wondered what kind of liberties are given to the writers because the person who wrote for this, I don't know if he also did another one. He might have did one or two. I'm not sure how many he did, but I just wonder what they're given in front of them when told, write, this story. Because, we see the Snake Man, but how it's written with He Man, it to me, I got the feel of this wasn't written as Prince Adam would have existed in this, particular universe of He Man. Because He Man is, like I said, he lives in Grayskull and it's just him. There's no mention of, Prince Adam. I always get curious about things like that, and the whole deletion uh, of Skeletor. No, evil warriors or Skeletor and his warriors are in Snake Mountain. It's just you were wondering what they were told, like where they just say, okay, here's some of the toys, here's some of this, and they thought, hey, Snake Mountain. Oh, it must be for the Snake Men. Let's do. I don't know what they're given. I always love that kind of stuff. I'd love to know the behind the scenes stuff of what were you told when they said write this story.
So that's what makes me think that the main focus. Let's get the Snake Man over. Do a story with just the Snake Man and put He Man in there, and that's all you're focusing on because you want kids to be wanting the toys of He Man and these three new characters. Put them in Snake Mountain. I mean, I could just see the editor or the writer who's probably not given a whole lot to work with, keeping it as simple as possible just for their own benefit. Instead of having to learn this whole mythology of like what what do I do? Does he? I think that's the good castle. All right, put He-Man in there. He lives in there. Put the Snake Man in Snake Mountain. That seems logical. I could see it being nothing more than that when all they're being told is just to write a simple cassette book for kids. But with that, it you know inadvertently gives a very interesting take. Of just having the Snake Men are the ones dwelling because technically they did dwell there at one point.
Right, right.
Not necessarily, and that's in the '80s canon, not just in MYP and other
Right,
various.
right.
So it's not far fetched.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why. Yeah. Hold on. Let me see. Christopher Dahlberg asked. He said, "What was the book where He-Man went down a well and ended up in the caverns? Caverns of Fear." I was just gonna say right when he said caverns, I was gonna finish to say caverns of fear, but he said, "Yeah,
Book.
yeah, that was a good one." No, yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, Gold, and they did well so many books. I mean, they did so many different kinds, but this one it said kids stuff, and what's weird is I didn't even look. I always, what's weird? I have all the Golden books and I have the kids stuff books. I always just assumed kids stuff was part of the Golden, but this isn't Golden, is it? Kids stuff didn't have anything to do with Golden, did they? Or am I wrong? I know. Hopefully, if anybody, I know. Let's say Grimbot should jump in, but I just looked at
Yeah,
that. How did I?
kid stuff, at least in America, was its own separate
Yeah,
because I think Kid Stuff did the Revenge of Skeletor, the Castle Grayskull record book. I think, or
they
maybe
also did the one with the Horde, where we seen the unique versions of the Horde troopers, and they looked like they had like pinheads or looked like they had bullet heads.
yeah, a more yeah. I think that was Kid Stuff as
Yeah,
well. I
that was
think.
kids. Wow. I guess I hope I'm wrong because I feel like such a moron that I'm sitting there having an epiphany right now, thinking, wait a second, kid stuff was not golden. I just always like tagged them in. I just did them in the same stuff because
Well,
kid stuff.
well, because most of Golden Book stuff was strictly just the book, whereas kids stuff focused a lot on record books and cassettes with books. So
Gold did some records. You remember Gold did do records also. Golden had
yeah.
records, and I thought they did cassettes as well. But
What about the PowerPoint Dread or the Point Dread the Talon Fighter record book? Is that
that one
Golden?
came. That one, I never looked at who made it because it
I know
came with.
Boy, but who did it? Did an outside publisher like Golden Books put that? I mean, like put that together for Mattel to be put with the Talon Fighter, or
Well, again,
and I've
because
got the book. I just don't have it here.
I have it. I mean, I have it as well. But since that was a special one, I used to keep it separate from my other books because I knew, oh, I didn't buy that at the store like my Golden books. So I assumed that was just probably inside something within Mattel. I would assume. I could be absolutely wrong.
I had the book here, and there's no. Of course, I'm looking at the Dark Horse release, and there's no.
Yeah, I don't think Golden did that. I don't.
Well, this one just says Mattel, and that's it. So maybe it was Mattel that put that one together, and used their current roster of artists and writers and things like that for this one. So
Yeah, because I didn't think Golden Book did that Power of Point Dread one. I just
and like Peter Pan was also a children's company that did books on like record, because I think I had Thundercats, the Unholy Alliance, that was released through Peter Pan. I think a lot of various other record books from the late 70s.
Well, I mean, I guess if this can make sense, the way I connected the PowerPoint Dread, that record book that came with, well, Point Dread Talon Fighter, was just like how we got mini comics with characters. We got a big book with a record with one of their, with their vehicles. So I figured it's just Mattel, just like the Power of the Evil Horde that came with Hordak and Grizzlor's 2-pack. You know how it had that book and cassette? That was like just Mattel. So
yeah.
I guess I consider that just Mattel stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm looking at it here too. And I mean, I can't see them. I mean, it's got to be just Mattel. Like they did.
Yeah.
Not
yes.
Pimped it out to another source.
Yeah, so this, again, kid stuff, and this book, it is well worth finding if you can get it. And it's one of the ones that doesn't pop up too often, just like the one that has the Horde and all that stuff on it by Kid Stuff. That also is another one that I think came with a cassette. But this is well worth getting if you never got it. Fantastic art, great story, and some stuff that, like I said, were firsts for us back then. But, well, now that that's over, and speaking of how I just mentioned, I guess it's sometimes things are meant to happen for a reason. We're talking about the 2-pack of Hordak with Grizzlor. Well, we're going to do a character bio on Grizzlor. So, Tyler, why don't you start us off with Grizzlor? Some of your first impressions of him, toy, character, wherever you've seen him, or how it went.
Yeah, toy was the first time because I got him at a flea market in Pennsylvania. I think it was before my brother was born, or not too far from that. And I saw him, and I had an idea of who he was, and my granddaddy bought him for me. And I think to this day he still remembers purchasing that for him because of him being such a furry character. That was my first Horde member as far as I can remember. I think before I got Hordak, Montana, and Leech later on in the same year for Christmas and for my birthday. And up until I really got into modular, Grizzlor was always my favorite as a kid and as a toy, and in the She-Ra cartoon, because I just saw him, like always, like in Talent for Trouble, a physical, equal to He-Man to a certain extent, much like Triclops was. And anytime he popped up in the She-Ra cartoon, it was just, oh man, Grizzlor's in this episode. Like it was just so exciting. I love seeing Leech and Montana. But Grizzlor was just like over the top for me because I just loved the character. I never saw him as being portrayed as oafish or buffoonish until later on when I would see other episodes or kind of have a better idea of like, God, they really made him look like an idiot in this cartoon a lot of times. Not all the time, especially when you look at it. Even in the She-Ra cartoon, he looks with the big fangs coming down, solid red eyes. He just looks like a badass. And, they have him offering ties to Hordak for Horde Prime's birthday, and he gets thrown down the chute, and stuff
Yeah,
like
one for each head. I always remember that. Yeah, I do remember that.
that. And just when Hordak, like Grizzlor, sits there kind of with his mouth open, and Hordak's head comes down into frame, and he screams at him, and he falls down. I'm not an advocate for silliness, but damn it, that's one scene that does make me chuckle when I watch For One of a Horse. I do like that scene.
No, but like you said, I mean, it happened with other characters later where, everybody sometimes would get the silly treatment, including Beastman. One quick thing, I thought, I might be wrong because you mentioned his big red eyes in the cartoon. I thought they were yellow because I thought it used to drive me nuts as a kid. Because
all right, let me clarify this real quick here.
I just want to make sure because the toy I thought had.
Damn it, I'm
Okay.
thinking. All right.
Well, the reason it came into my head was because I thought it drove me nuts.
Here.
Yeah, because the toy I thought had red and yellow, right?
Yellow pupils on the classic figure.
Yeah, because
I gotta settle this right now.
Yeah, because the vintage toy.
Red eyes with yellow pupils.
Yeah, and I remember that's what, as a kid, used to drive me insane because I remember the toy had the red eyes with the yellow pupils, and then the cartoon was just yellow. I was like, oh man, where's the red? Because I always thought it looked more evil on the toy. But no, I always loved the toy. I love the card art back for him. Like I said, he always, to me, looked like a demented, insane critter. For whatever reason, he reminded me of critters. I know he's not supposed to look like one, but that's me looking at his card back art. I thought he looked like a critter. And that was a wicked movie, and those things freaked me out. And his teeth looked just so sharp, like he was razor sharp and rip you to pieces. And the cartoon came, and I did like him. Don't get me wrong, but man, I'll admit I was a little disappointed that he wasn't more like the toy. I was like expecting more of the wild hair and looking more evil, but I could understand them not wanting it to look too frightening on the cartoon, so they tightened up his fur and made it like a little more tight do and everything, not all wild and furred out. But
easier to animate, whereas Leech
sure,
close to their toy counterpart. Grizzlor's kind of like his character. It'd be hard to animate all the fur,
especially back then. You're right. They wanted everything to be reused in mirror, images. Unlike MYP, yes, we got to see where he'd look a little more ferocious. Again, no pun intended, but you got to see more of that fur.
Yeah, and
that's how it was. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I mean, he's such an imposing character, and I like his place in the Horde. Is essentially, I mean, in the mini comic, he's this kind of legendary beast. But I mean, I think the typical role for him is to be the person in charge of Hordak's prison cells. Like, he's the guy that keeps prisoners in lockup. You can't get out, and if you do, you got to go through Grizzlor, because if he puts you in, you sure as hell ain't getting out, kind of thing. And I think that's whereas Montana's kind of like, and I also figure Grizzlor's like the muscle for the Horde as well. Leech is kind of like that as well, and then you got Montana for reconnaissance, and Modulok is your technician. So Hordak has kind of got a lot of the big basics filled out within his immediate faction before the Horde really got spread out and made even bigger. But I always thought that was a cool, and of course he kind of serves that purpose in Secret of the Sword when he's kind of running mission control and in charge of security over the prison cells at the Fright Zone.
Oh, okay. Wait. One quick thing, because it sounded like it slightly glitched when you were talking about
staring at me like, Joe.
Yeah, it seemed like it went glitch. You were mentioning in Princess of Power, and then it kind of had a weird issue for me.
What I was saying is that they in Secret of the Sword, they display Grizzlor as being the guy in charge of the prison cells.
Oh yeah, exactly. And you're right, when you went back to talking about him also being the muscle, you're right. He was always more of the muscle for me, even though Leech, that's a big dude. Leech is, I always picture him, especially the figure, that's a big boy, but it's like he's big. He can get you and suck your energy, but I see him as obviously slower. Whereas Grizzlor, he's muscle, but you could picture him being quick and agile and also super ferocious. Like, God, I would not want to tangle with this guy if you got into a fight with him.
Yeah, and that description really fits the 2000X design. When we received that look of him looking essentially like a bounty hunter with his variety of weapons and knives.
Love that.
Yeah. You picture him as being like someone like of a tracker, almost like someone who's on the hunt. If Hordak I need you to go capture Mechanic for me. I could see Grizzlor, hiding around. I always like he could probably could smell certain things, but he just looks like someone who would be kind of like Bane. The way that Bane was portrayed, in his early beginnings in the Batman comics. Someone who's observant and tracks and watches his prey and observes all their movements and things like that. And
You
then
know,
he has a variety of sharp weapons to ensure victory and capturing his prey and putting him in the jail cell and ensuring they never get the hell out or
I
something
wonder
like
if they
that.
would have kept him mute. You wonder which characters they might have kept mute. If that would have worked. I don't even know if he would have spoken. Every time we start talking about MYP, and anytime we bring up the Horde, it guts me so much. The
Oh,
thought of we didn't get.
it is, knowing that they made a bunch of other silly ass decisions in that cartoon and wasted characters.
How awesome would the Horde have been, especially like you said, looking at Grizzlor with his. I mean, for those out there, I don't know if you've ever bought the staction of
Oh, no,
Grizzlor.
I had gotten the last wave of Staxons was the only one I couldn't get due to they
Well,
released
I
in
don't.
certain quantities.
And I don't know how many people, who are listening, if they've ever gotten or seen that staction, but it is just so damn detailed. I mean, not only is it, like the furred up character, but he's loaded with weapons. Like if I was to go over there and grab it right now, I wouldn't even. Okay, just hold on 1 second. Hopefully my mic and everything doesn't pop off. I'm gonna grab this without things falling.
Grab his Grizzlor staction here, so I'll entertain you here
Right, and
until
I'm
he.
coming. Okay, oh man, let me just try to grab a little stack of them because I don't want to get them all because I mean there's literally too many. But okay, here I come. All right, first, Jesus, let me set these down. This is just unbelievable. First, here is Grizzlor. This is just such a damn awesome, wicked looking sculpt and design. Like I said, the fur, I mean, you can do it just like you did the vintage toy. He comes with that cool ass crossbow. He has this knife. He has this pack on his back where you can load up the weapons. And then now I'll show you. This is unbelievable. I got all these weapons here. This is some of the stuff he has. I mean, I got a handful of this stuff. He has, I don't know, whatever the hell this thing is. He's got two of those.
Like,
He's got two. I'm sorry, he's got four of them. They gave him four of those weapons. Then he had, like I said, the stuff you've seen. Then he has like almost his version of a Jason Voorhees machete. So he has Horde machete. He's got cool ass, like almost like a, I don't know if you want to say that's a samurai. Yeah, it's a sword. Yeah, katana. And then this, I love that. This has to be my favorite one. Is this cool ass axe because
yeah,
I don't know if I can get the detail, but there's a Horde emblem on that axe of Hordak face on the axe. So it's just he's a weapons master. So could you have pictured him in the cartoon coming out and throwing things, knockout darts, fighting with swords, shooting crossbow? God, oh damn it!
That's what makes it sound like that he could have been a bounty hunter for Hordak.
Yeah.
I mean, you just Leech and Montana. We obviously the Staction forms they only came with the crossbow and that was it. But for Grizzlor to have that design of someone who's got a wide variety of knives and little hatchets and swords and maces and stuff, they're there for a reason, and they look like they're there to take out a wide variety of prey. You know, but also as like maybe possible like torture devices too, since he is in the prison cells, like in charge of the prison. You kind of figure if Hordak's got to interrogate somebody, put Grizzlor in there with him. If leeches are going to drain their energy, so you're probably not going to get much out. And you put Grizzlor in there, you're probably going to get one.
He's the guy that'll make you talk. He's the one that's going to do the torture stuff. Start going under your fingernails, slicing your hair. Yeah, he's going to be that. He's the one that you see in the show where they roll out that big thing that has all the weapons laid before. He's like, and he's going to each one, which one he's going to use. I can picture him doing that to torture people.
That I can see that too, and not even really have to say anything. Like Hordak just kind of stands there, off to the back against the wall, and waiting for this guy to crack. Grizzlor doesn't say anything other than going over, picking his weapon of choice, or walks over to the guy, and then either the guy's going to crack or he's going to take some punishment until he gives up what Hordak wants. I mean, God, That's a sequence. Axel, illustrate that just for the hell of it.
Yeah, have him sitting there. Just not only that, but a 2-page. Have him spread out the thing with all the weapons laying out before, and next scene of one he's going to choose what he's going to do. Yeah, he's going to be the one that's going to make it talk. So, no, but Grizzlor, yeah, just I've loved, like I said, every version. Some, yes, I wish could have looked differently compared to others. There's some more details, but he's a character I always liked. I never had an issue with Grizzlor from the mini comics to the cartoons, the toys, the
No,
whatever. It's
I mean, even the mini comics, aside from those really crummy ass Mantan and Leech ones, but he's portrayed in his own mini comic. He's portrayed very good in the Hordak mini comic. He's portrayed as a very strong, imposing muscle, especially that shot from our good friend Larry Houston, illustrating Grizzlor and Whiplash clashing with each other. Just
yeah.
that. I
And
remember
isn't
that.
he on the cover of Escape from the Slime Pit too? Isn't he on that cover? I think.
Yeah, he's on that one.
And he's got kind of like crazy. Isn't his hair almost Wolverine like at one point where it kind of.
And he's also on the War Machine, also. Yeah, where he's got kind of the Wolverine kind of pointed hair, which
Yeah.
I saw that as a kid. I'm like, I don't like this look. I don't like that look of Grizzlor. I like the more, I mean, the way Larry drew him. I mean, to me, that's by far the best from the vintage series. Where he's got the big fur, but it's not out of control. It's more kind of it just makes him look more ferocious the way Larry drew
And
him.
was it Bruce Timm who did Bruce Timm do the card back art for the 2-pack with Hordak and
And
Grizzlor?
the interior for the storybook, and he did the box art on the
Yeah,
back,
yeah,
the
I liked it.
illustration.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Bruce could draw a good Grizzlor as well. He drew awesome Hordak too.
Oh yeah.
But but yeah, overall, Grizzlor has been fortunately a character that's been treated with a lot of respect and dignity. He's never, um, I mean, obviously the She-Ra cartoon made a lot of the villains at times silly. They made Dial-A-Mug silly at one point.
Started off
Yeah.
awesome and then unfortunately got the silly treatment. And real quick before we do wrap up our Grizzlor talk, I was just gonna say now I'll open it up to you guys in the chat room. Any questions about anything you want, go ahead and you can post them right there and we'll answer any of your questions right now while Tyler and I do the little wrap up on Grizzlor. And after we finish, we'll hit your questions right after we finish. So go ahead, Tyler.
I mean, that's pretty much what I have to say. Favorite version. I mean, it's kind of hard to say because I mean, probably from childhood, the Filmation version I really hold dear to my heart because I got so excited to see him in any episode, especially Talent for Trouble. But that 2000X version left a lot to be desired, man, of what we would have gotten. But
What a first impression can make, huh? I mean, just from that, just what could have been. How can that almost for me be my favorite when all I've seen was just that one time and we didn't even
even
get anymore?
for a few moments throughout it, like the first shot, you see him like he's standing behind Hordak with his arms crossed, just looking pretty confident, just waiting for Hordak's next move, along with Montana and Leech, and they all back up when Calix decides to question Hordak. Like, you kind of get that vibe, like they're a tight unit, and Calix is probably either the newest or the dumbest for doing that, because for all three of them to immediately simultaneously back the hell up because they know what's coming. You
Yeah,
kind
it
of
was short lived for Calix. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, because they know that you don't do that. You respect Hordak's wishes. If he wants you to turn left, you turn left, and if he doesn't say anything, you just stand there and just kind of wait and see what he needs you to do. And that just was such a cool visual, like of Grizzlor with his arms crossed, with his other two buddies. Yeah, I
I
think
mean, that is for me. That is my favorite. I mean, the one if that MYP never happened, I guess here's my second because I'll just pop in the second anyways. Is the card art for just Grizzlor? Because I've said to you many times he reminded me of a demented critter, but he looks so insane and ferocious. And I remember, along with how I've told the story so many times, and I found out others were doing it, I thought I was alone, where I said I would cut out like the card back, images of like He-Man standing on the 12 back or 8 backs, and I would take those to school and put them on my desk. And when it was break time, I acted like they were action figures because I wouldn't take my figures to school. I also took the card back art, and I remember just opening my desk and looking at him, and just I would love staring at Grizzlors. There was something so damn fascinating and intriguing about that card back art. But yeah, I'd say MYP that pretty much did it, and it's just such a shame we never got any more of them.
I know, and I probably would have to say MYP
All right.
because yeah, that would be my definitive one. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that was our wrap up of Grizzlor. Now I'm going to hit some of the questions in the chat room. Okay, Zentron starts off. He says, apart from the obvious animation and continuity issues of the Filmation series, what one element annoyed you most? So, well, I hated. Well, it was just it's a product of its time, meaning when the parent groups got involved and had to take the tone away
Yeah.
from the show. So yeah, because you see how He-Man started off. It started off. It was kind of serious feeling, not so jokey. But yeah, when the parent groups got involved, break downhill with too many jokes and yeah. So
Yeah,
that's my
because the villains suffer, which is why Spiker looks like such a goof that he is, and Too Bad was silly, and everybody just was taken down a notch in season two. And yeah, I think that was probably the biggest thing because I mean, season one, aside from what few dud episodes there were, everybody was portrayed pretty kick ass. All of the evil warriors, all the heroic warriors were all very likable characters and seen the way they or depicted the way they should be. So yeah, due to those bitching parents who thought the idea of He-Man and Skeletor was just promoting devil worship and demonic rituals and all kinds of other silly nonsense
and
like
I've
that.
never heard that. You know, that's funny is I love hearing that because I always go to groups. I was like, anybody here worship the devil because of He-Man? I've never heard this. Like, where have you even heard? These people are insane with the stupid stuff they want to nitpick. Like, yeah, that's what He-Man
I mean,
promoted.
that's
Like,
what I felt like. All right, stop, hold everything. You, young lady, who are accusing Skeletor or the character of Skeletor of being something that promotes satanic worship. Do you have a child that you caught at home practicing black magic because he
like,
was watching the cosmic comet or the save Skeletor? Did your child reenact anything like that? No.
exactly, and none of it didn't happen with any. So yeah, that. So yeah, I guess well, me and Tyler ended up saying the same thing,
Yeah.
which yeah, that pretty much is what sucked about it. But okay, okay. JSP said, question: He-Man, Superman, and Hulk, three-way elimination dance. Who you guys got? And I
He-Man.
think he now we got until Hulk just gets so pissed and he's getting more angry. That Superman flies them both into space, but then somehow they come back. I don't know. It's just a big a big battle royal. I don't know.
Hulk in outer space, and He-Man uses the magic of the Power Sword to defeat Superman. So,
I guess
but
so.
he wins. Regardless. I mean, that's just how it is. I love my Marvel and DC superheroes, but nobody takes precedent over He-Man. So, He-Man.
It, even
But
if
there,
I wanted to say something different, it's like I can't do it on the show. It'd be sacrilegious if I'd say, okay, Superman will move so fast that he'll just split He-Man in half. That the fight's over. But I will not do stuff like that.
tornado. So anyone, a man that can move that fast, to me, he's practically just as fast as
No,
Superman.
hey, you're right. He can't fly. I mean, hell, remember He-Man moved his hand so fast that he turned sand into glass. So yeah, it's all fun. But no, it would be fun. But he said pro wrestling style. I think that's what he meant, pro wrestling style. So
Wrestling style.
um,
I see Superman and He-Man teaming up to take out the Hulk. Because they that way the fans get like a fun like, oh man, they're teaming up, man, this is great, and they eliminate the Hulk in this or at least get him out of if it's a elimination match, they'd eliminate Hulk first for teaming up or
wait a
throw him
second.
top rope
Don't
and
you
get
realize this
what.
is Hulk's time to actually do something that somebody else does? Hulk out. And he starts getting pissed and more angry and angry in the ring. And he's shaking the entire ring, not just the ropes or nothing. And he double clotheslines and he knocks them both out and he pins them at the same time. And Hulk leaves. So Hulk knocks out He-Man and Superman and wins after he hulks out in the ring.
You were a terrible wrestling booker, man.
I had to do it. I had to do it quick. I had to do it. So Hulk wins. But,
No, and He-Man and Superman would had the they get their ass kicked for a little while, and then they start building momentum, and then they both just knock the hell out of the Hulk.
oh, dirty double teamers. I knew He-Man was crooked. I knew it all along. He turns bad and he has to double team the Hulk. That's terrible. You have to double team somebody to knock out the Hulk. But okay, well, thanks for that, JSP. That was a fun little one. Let me see what Adam Gabbard said. Joe, I like your Jason Voorhees figures representing Friday the 13th. How many part sevens you have, Joe, and how many you have of mine for or Freddy versus Jason? Oh God, I no one back of me. I I can't remember how many part sevens they did. I don't own all of the figures they've made so far, Adam. They made too many Friday the 13th figures, so I don't own them all. So I don't know how many of those I have, or the Freddy versus Jason. I do like the Freddy versus Jason statue that's in back of me. That was kind of like one of my favorites. But I don't know how many I have. But okay, what did JSP? Let me see what JSP said. He-Man and Superman both get the pin on the Hulk. He-Man gets the pin on the Hulk. Damn it, Tyler beat me to it. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Okay, well, he pretty much was gonna say what you said, so there you go. But all right. Well, there's the questions and stuff from the chat room. So again, thank you for participating and joining us and all the questions, comments. But Tyler, before we wrap it up, is there any closing remarks you got, or anything you want to tell fans to do, check out, or anything like that?
Yes. I wanted to let everyone know that the PowerCon exclusives of Jitsu, Spikor, and Driel and Montork they're currently on sale right now, and they will go off sale on May 13th. And it's been announced there will be no extensions. Whereas we've been fortunate with Super 7, where they want to maximize and try and get the best numbers. Where they've told us there's a cutoff date, it gets delayed about a week or two. It's been said that there will be no extension, that once they reach their minimum or get to that date, or once they've reached whatever they've got at that date, whether if it's the minimum or way past it or whatever the case may be, that's it. There won't be, we'll give it another week, we'll give it another 2 weeks, we'll give it till next month. That won't be the case. So May 13th, it's on a Sunday, will be the last day to purchase 1, 2, or all 3 of the PowerCon exclusives. And that also Brian Flynn posted, I think last week or something like that they're at overseas overlooking production on the next wave of classic figures to ensure that the quality issues that that I didn't have, but others have had with the first batch don't happen again, and that we can get them a lot sooner, probably, as more on time as opposed to this first batch. So just want to let everyone know things are supposed to be looking better, and you got to the 13th. I'm going to get mine as well. I had every intention of buying my 3 PowerCon exclusives today, but I got kind of distracted, but I'm going to buy all 3. So I want everyone to know, get yours as well, whether it's just 1, 2, or all 3. But we've got less than a month.
Okay, because you said May 13th, correct?
Yes, May 13th. It's on a Sunday.
Okay, and when you said Brian was at the factories, did he specify in particular like what they were wanting to try to fix or correct? Because we've heard different things from fans. Some were upset with maybe some of the paint apps, or they thought the plastic looked glossy on some things. Like, was there anything specific that he was looking for? Or was they just basically looking into all the issues?
It was a pretty it was a broad statement. I think it was just to let everyone look. We're because the pre-orders for Wave 2, they ended back in February, I think.
I honestly can't remember when they ended. I'll be honest.
In there, but just to we're trying to go and let everyone know in advance. We're trying to keep what happened the first time, because there was issues with Triclops and I think Lodar and a few other small things, that they're trying to knock it out in advance, so that way it just kind of helps give people good peace of mind that they're trying to make sure these issues don't happen again. And if they do, they catch them early, and hopefully can avoid, a lot of excessive delays and things like that. We would get these a lot sooner. But
okay, and also, when's the like for the con itself? When do tickets? Those already started.
yes, PowerCon tickets are. I think they're on sale. God, I thought they were now.
Yeah, because I thought they were. I just didn't know like when those end, like the sales for the tickets themselves or the passes.
Yeah, that one I don't have the information on me at the moment, but I'm fairly certain you can start getting your tickets and passes for PowerCon, because the Super 7 PowerCon exclusives are up for right now. I'd like to say I'm about 100% sure that you can get your tickets for that as well. So if you plan to go to PowerCon, you can start getting your passes for that, as well as the 3 exclusives if you plan to buy any of those. So that way you can kind of get it all together. If you're going to go, you get your tickets, you can pick them up when you get there. And if you're not, you can still purchase all 3 of the exclusives on Super 7's website as well, which I'll be doing that in the
Hell,
coming.
even JSP just mentioned, he said that the passes are on sale now. He said, but the power passes, which are the VIP ones, he said sold out. So, well, there, I guess those sold out then.
There you go. That's thank you for clarifying that as well. So obviously this is going very well. So if you plan to go, it should be a very big turnout. It continues to keep getting bigger and bigger. And if you're going to go, jump on it, and hopefully I'll be there next year, permitting that the convention is a little bit earlier in the summer to where I can get out of work and not have to worry about, getting someone to cover for me so I can go out to California for more than a day, which is about all I could do. And to try and make it out there and spend all that money for just 24 hours, I couldn't do it and get back to work on time.
All right. Well, that's hopefully, yeah. Like I said, you'll be able to make it there one time. Also, was going to say, Zentron. I know you encouraged one time. You said, "Hey, maybe the fans can start giving movie quotes, even though you're still going to do yours at the end." But Zentron has a movie quote. What is a chafing dish?
Wait, what?
What is a chafing dish? That's his movie quote.
That one I don't know. I don't know that one right off.
I don't either.
Doesn't
Zentron's
sound.
gonna have to. What he said? What is a chafing dish? Why
Yeah,
is it?
I have
Damn,
no idea.
Well, Zentron, you got me, and you got Tyler, so you have to post that, and I'll be curious to see what it is. But all right, well, let me say, well, again, thank you everybody for joining us. Hope you're here next week, and like again, you have any questions next week, you shoot them at us, and hope you enjoyed this episode. Now I'm going to say what I always say: go to fansofpower.com, go to popculturenetwork.com, go to hemanworld.com, and on Facebook, go to Masters of the Universe He-Man is your ultimate fan group. All great places, all great people. So until next time, have a powerful day.
But if the forces of evil should rise again to cast a shadow on the heart of the city, call me.
That's right. That's Batman, baby. I knew that. I finally got something. And also, Zentron said it was from Hot Shots. How the hell? What part in Hot Shots? I loved Hot Shots.
Got over 20 years. I've seen the second one more than the first one.
Yeah,
So that's he got one from Hot Shots, but I haven't seen Hot Shots since I was little.
Damn, God, it's been so long. I mean, I remember seeing Hot Shots. I loved Hot Shots. And I remember the second one. I know they kind of like started off where it was like mocking Rambo or something, I think. Wasn't it?
Rambo and Basic Instinct and stuff like that, which is why I watched that one a bit more as a kid because of Rambo.
All right. So, okay. Well, there you stumped us, Zentron. So that's pretty cool. So, all right, guys. See you next week.
All right.